Time now for sports on 104.7 The Cave. Here's Ned Reynolds.
Mike the intern, Ned Reynolds. It's Tuesday, and last night the pro draft happened for the women. Was the player of the year picked first?
Oh, of course. Absolutely she was. That's Caitlin Clark from Iowa. She was the number one choice. And this is kind of interesting, too, Mike, because the WNBA draft has never really engendered any kind of great media coverage. Well, it did this year because Caitlin Clark, college basketball's all-time leading scorer, passing Pete Maravich in the numerical category, was the number one pick. And she was taken by the Indiana Fever. So we'll see what kind of an impact that she has. The folks in television land are thinking that the WNBA will be increasingly popular this year. We will see. We'll go through very quickly the top three players. The second player taken was the big All-America from Stanford, Cameron Brink. She is a willowy 6'4" kid who's very thin, blonde hair, wears it in braids, and is a very good player. She went to the LA Sparks. And Camila Cardozo, who is the 6'7" Brazilian who played on the South Carolina national championship team and really powered them to the national championship. She was taken third by the Chicago Sky, and therefore, and straight through, that's the rest of the draft, the way it went on. And more power to them. I wish them a lot of good luck.
Absolutely. We've got the playoffs happening in the NBA. It's the play-in round, if you will. Pretty much means a lot of the teams get to go, at least try to get to the playoffs.
That's just it. It's making way for some of the teams to say, hey, we were hosed out of this. There are 20 teams that are into the NBA playoffs, but a lot of them are going to be eliminated right away. This is the third year for this play-in round. It's 7. The teams are seeded 7 through 10. 7 plays 8. And that's in the Western Conference tonight. 7 is New Orleans Pelicans, and 8 LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers. They'll play in New Orleans. Okay, the winner of this one is into the main round of the playoffs, doesn't have to play again until next week. The loser gets another chance. Now, in the second game, which is seed 9 versus 10, that is the Sacramento Kings hosting the Golden State Warriors. The difference is the loser here is Gonzo, out for the season, done, finished until next year. The winner gets to play the loser of the other game tomorrow night. So it's really complicated, and that's just the Western Conference. And the Eastern has to go through their deal, which begins tomorrow night as well. It's really kind of odd.
Yeah, and I mean, it's obviously a TV thing. Also, it's good. It's part to keep those stadiums open just a little bit longer sometiing, so you get a little bit more. In a sense, though,
but it's more honoring the television contract and gaining for the sponsors some extra time on the air.
They're both in and out of the arenas. Baseball Bears. They got a tough matchup tonight against the Tigers.
This is weather permitting, and I think the weather is going to permit, judging from all the forecasts. The Bears play Mizzou. It's a non-conference game. It's one that, well, they play twice, as a matter of fact. Next week, they'll play up in Columbia. But in the past, Missouri State and Missouri have put on some very competitive shows, and I think tonight's game at Hammons Field will be just as well. It begins at 6:30. Missouri is having a mediocre year. Missouri State is having, I wouldn't call it catastrophic year. That's not the case, but it certainly is a big disappointment. Their bullpen, right, they just can't hold a lead at all. Bears had a big lead over Illinois Chicago the other day to let it get away. Well, you have to score more runs, and that may happen because the wind is going to be blowing out tonight. Anyway, the Bears and the Mizzou Tigers, that's tonight at 6:30.
What happened with the St. Louis Cardinals yesterday?
They got a win playing out at the Oakland Alameda County Coliseum. The lame duck Oakland A's and the St. Louis Cardinals playing drew a crowd of 5,000, and that's going to be the norm for Oakland for the rest of this year, and this will be it. They're not playing in Oakland again next year. They'll go to Sacramento. Be that as it may, Cardinals got the win last night, 3-1. You knew they would because Sonny Gray was on the hill. Gray, who used to pitch for the A's a number of years ago, absolutely dominant and held the Oakland Ball Club scoreless. The A's got their one run on a relief corps, but 3-1, Cardinals get the win, and they'll play again tonight. Now, the Kansas City Royals played last night in Chicago, and I'll tell you, the Royals 2-0, they get the win. Seth Lugo pitching very well. And here's the key, folks, and we've talked about this now. I've always felt that Kansas City's a much better team from what they have shown in the past. They are coming together and playing well. Now, having said that, the Royals are 11-6 on the year, 11 wins, 6 losses. The Chicago White Sox 2 wins, 14 losses. What has happened to that proud franchise in South Chicago? They have fallen apart in the early going. Anyway, Royals get the win, 2-0. 2-0 is the final score. Royals get the victory, and the Royals continue with a sweep of the White Sox. They haven't lost to them this year.
Looking good. It's like we don't want to peak too early, but at the same time, it's been fun to watch the last week or so.
Well, it's helping their confidence more than anything. This is a young team, and hey, they're playing very well. You have Bobby Witt Jr. on there, and any number of outstanding players. And the fact is that they are coming together and playing well, as you knew eventually they would.
All right, well, now it's some bad news to talk about this morning.
This is a sad story. It really is, because Kenny Holtzman was a really outstanding left-hander in Major League Baseball. St. Louis product, University City is where he went to high school, and then later the University of Illinois. Broke in with the Chicago Cubs and threw a couple of no-hitters for the Cubbies. Holtzman was a big left-hander, could really throw, had a huge breaking pitch, and was really a top-level ball player. Played for a number of teams, Cubs, the A's, the Orioles, and the Yankees. He had so much going for him, too. 174 career victories, and a popular figure in Missouri. Passed away yesterday at the age of 78. That's very sad, Kenny Holtzman leaving us.
Yeah, man. Well, it's time for you to go back into your childhood. You were probably, 9, 10 years old when this happened?
Well, let's see. How old? No, it would have been younger than that. It would have been, I would have been 6.
Okay, 6 years old.
So it didn't really register with me then, but it certainly does now. It was this date yesterday. Actually, it was April the 15th, so we're one day removed from that, when one of baseball's Sports World's historic moments took place when Jackie Robinson took the diamond at Ebbets Field in Brooklyn as the first black player to ever compete in the major leagues in the modern era. And Robinson went out there. They had a crowd of about 26,000 at Ebbets Field, which was a pretty good gathering for them. In mid-April of 1947, that's when it occurred. Dodgers played the Boston Braves. Later, the Milwaukee Braves, now the Atlanta Braves. Anyway, Robinson got the start. Fans loved it. And then his rather rocky tour around the National League did begin to take place. But this is a historic day, 1947, April 15th. It was that'd be 74 years yesterday in which that occurred. And that's a signal moment in all of sports.
Mm-hmm. I'm sitting here trying to imagine that in my mind, but also imagine you as a 6-year-old kid.
A little brat.
Yeah. What do you mean? I guess nothing's changed. You have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow.